In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine reminder and warner that's in our midst. Welcome to another episode of the Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man, a podcast of brothers that desires nothing more than to show a positive image as what striving men of God should be. For we all are family men who love our children. We all are businessmen. We all are youth mentors. And we all work hard in our community to make it a decent and safe place to live. When putting this podcast together, we decided to govern our actions by three rules. One was to put God first in all that we do. Two was to present content to podcasts that can make you a better you. And three, to showcase brotherhood and unity amongst men that you can be proud of. My name is Brother Kawhi Muhammad. I'll be your host and moderator for the night. Born and raised out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a brother that's very interested in the beginning of things and in the root of things, motivations and inspirations. So I hope you enjoy my line of questioning. So let me get to the other host of the Jock Brothers. The host I want to introduce to you first, born and raised out of Orlando, Florida. Brother is he trumped us all in years of being a married man. My brother, who always brings a positive attitude to all our meetings and shows, my brother Jackie Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jock Nation, Jock Nation. Welcome again. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's Ghost. All right. Praise be to Allah. But look, Jock Nation, we have a wonderful show, a timely show. If you have been watching all the storms that has been taking place throughout America, you can see that the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan proves true. And we have our brother here tonight who's going to talk about disaster preparedness. So this is a good show for all of us to tune into. And if you have any questions, Jock Nation, send them in. Thank you, Brother Kawi.
Yes, sir. The other host of the Jock brother born and raised in New York City, son of a legendary Muslim out of New York City, but he ain't trying to lean on the good name of his father, but trying to make a name for himself. Brother now lives out in the West Coast area. My brother, Ahmed Bia. Is he on mute? Oh, he froze?
Okay.
Go ahead and get, can you get the, let me see. Go ahead, Ahmed. Okay, all right. I see
Brother Ahmed, can you hear us?
I don't think he hearing us, brother. Go ahead and run it, brother Jackie.
Well, look, Jock Nation, once again, we want to thank you for tuning in to the Jock Brothers tonight. We ask that you subscribe and share the show. We definitely appreciate the support that you have been giving us. We still have our initiative going on. We want to get the baddest, boldest newspaper
That's
behind
right.
the bars of the belly of the beast, and we need to get this final call behind the bars in the belly of the beast. So definitely, we want you to continue to support that initiative. You can go to $Jock Bros, $Jock Bros to support that initiative, and we can get the final call to anyone that you know of who's behind the bars, who's behind the belly of the beast, the bars, the belly of the beast, and we can get this out to our community, brothers and sisters. So if you have any names or anyone that you would like to get that final call to, please send it to this address, jockbrothersviewers@gmail.com, jockbrothersviewers@gmail.com. So thank you all once again. Back to you, Kawi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's get to work. Like Brother Jackie said at the beginning of the show, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been talking about this weather for a long time. Watch the weather. And of late, that weather has been as active as it has ever been. You see people out there struggling right after the weather hits, and a lot of them don't have had never prepared for it, don't have a preparation plan. So this show, like Brother Jackie said, is a timely show, and we have the right brother on the show today to talk about that, to talk about things that need to be done to get you prepared for whatever disasters that's about to take place. So let me get right into his bio. First of all, this brother here is an entrepreneur, a husband, a father, and a farmer. His love of animal husbandry and agriculture came at a very young age from his family in Puerto Rico. He started studying at Chicago State University, where he heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speak on agriculture in 2010. At that time, he was pursuing a career in medicine. He later earned his bachelor's degree in biology at Tennessee State University. He has been practicing urban agriculture since 2014 and was in Will Allen's farming program for 5 years. Now that's big. That's big time. That's big time right there. Brother Randy has cultivated several farm spaces, including Muhammad University School of Urban Agriculture at Maz Mariam, and has mentored countless aspiring farmers and youth. Most recently, he and his wife have acquired, get this, a 28-acre farm and retreat space in South Georgia called Osafa's Oasis. Osafa Oasis is a work in progress and will feature farming, workshops, gardens, and programs centered around healing, including auditing. With no further ado, and with a Job Brothers round of applause, I want to introduce to you our brother Randy Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, soldier.
Walaikum salam, sir.
In the open word, soldier.
Yes, better grow food and grow it quickly. Time is of the essence. In part 36 of the Time Must Be Done, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan said that the farming is the engine of our national life. It's not just the engine of our national life, but if it's the engine of our national life, it's the engine of your home also. Whether that be gardening, and what that means by engine, meaning if you don't have an engine, you're not going anywhere. It can't take you. You can't go anywhere without something that has an engine.
Right.
It's a hovercraft or whatever it is that you have. In order to go someplace, you need an engine, right? But he said, like farming, meaning growing your own food. And we understand that we're entering I believe that we're in a time right now that it spoke of, like inside the Bible, of a great tribulation. And it said that great tribulation is that there will be a tribulation, such the likes that has not occurred since there was a nation upon the earth, nor will ever occur again. And it said, if those days were not cut short for my elect's sake, no flesh would survive.
Come on, bro.
So when you think of something, when you hear something like that, and this is Matthew chapter 24 through 26. So if you go through Matthew chapter 24 and 26, and you just read some of those things that Jesus is telling you, that these are the types of things that would take place as far as the storms, wars in diverse places, the love of the greater number cooling off. He said these are all signs and like what they call pangs of distress, and showing you that a time is coming. Now, when you think of growing food, many people don't know how to grow food or what it takes. You have enemies you see, and you have enemies you don't see. It's not about just flicking a seed inside of the ground and okay, a plant comes up. Say you got that plant, and then you got that is bearing fruit now. You think you're about to get this juicy tomato, right? Or that big old bell pepper, as you see it forming. But then that squirrel or that chickmunk comes and takes that tomato, takes that bell pepper, kills that plant. That Japanese beetle eats those leaves. You're dealing with funguses that you've never dealt with before. Now your whole crop is gone because you didn't practice,
Right.
because you didn't heed the warning, because you didn't take the necessary steps when the message was first delivered. The timer must be done. That was 13 years ago. 13 years ago. No, 11 years ago. So that was 2013.
Yeah,
That's
2013.
11 years ago. So that's and Yamasus Farrakhan has always been telling us to grow our own food, but he really stressed it there in the timer must be done, part 36. And when he gave that little shortly, before then, he gave that part 36. He came to my school, Chicago State University, in 2010, when I first started pursuing my degree in biology to go to medical school. Then he put up a picture of a cow, and he showed all the things that this same pictures on the USDA website, and it shows you all the things that you get from a cow. And I remember I just couldn't get that image out of my mind. And I was just so fascinated, like, wow, all these medicines, like, and I remember thinking at that time, I was like, well, I'm going to go to medical school and I'm going to make some money and I'm going to go ahead and buy the farm. But later on in my career, I started seeing that, well, you become a doctor, you're going to be in that doctor's office all day long, like 16-hour day long. And so when you think of how much work it takes to run a farm, it takes all day long.
But Randy, let me ask you this. When I was thinking of disaster preparedness, I was always thinking about items that you need to store away just in case there was a situation where we couldn't leave our homes, like storing up, like the canning that we do where we store up a whole lot of food for a specific amount of time. You more or less approaching this as from still a farming perspective and grow your own food perspective. So if this how you are doing your disaster preparedness, if a disaster is to take place?
Yes. So when you think of survival, right? You think of survival. You can't say survival without mentioning separation. Because, okay, look at it like this. Who grows your food? And there's a lecture the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave in 2005 at Kennedy King College. It's called Healing Begins in the Mind. And there he went real deep in addressing our mind, because we are dying right now because we are in their food system. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't produce nothing that we eat, absolutely nothing. And when you think that when we don't produce nothing, you have an enemy producing your food. Everything that you eat, everything you take inside of your body. I just went to the store and I bought some baking powder to make my son some pancakes, right? My wife stopped me. She said, no, we don't eat this kind because it has aluminum in it. Like, who puts aluminum inside food that you put inside your body knowing that this causes Alzheimer's?
Your enemy.
You see, exactly. I used to work on a med surgical unit, and I dealt with nothing but cancer patients, and the types of cancers that we're getting today is not like anything else. And when you understand that, and this is what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan was talking about, and I believe he was mentioning it in part 36 and other parts, and the time must be done, was that memorandum 200. And that was the depopulation memorandum given by the Food and Drug Administration, to everybody. So if you're not in the mind of growing your own food or providing for yourself and your family, how can you even say survival? Because these people have it, and it's no conspiracy. This is just plain as day now, that they want to depopulate. They don't want you. Look, they're giving you fake food, fake everything.
Right.
It's not even chicken anymore. It's
GMO.
like it's glue meat. They have vats of stainless steel tanks producing this protein from this slime jelly. And we're always the last ones to know. Clone meat. You know, what else are they putting inside of your food? God knows. I mean, if you listen to Brother Nuri when he talked about how many chemicals were just inside this Chick-fil-A sandwich and Popeye's chicken sandwich. You see, when like what do you need? So like I told my wife, I said, you know, we don't buy bread from the grocery store. Like you go get that wheat from Muhammad's farm, and bread only need about 3 or 4 ingredients. That's it. All that whole paragraph long for what? For what? And see, we're ingesting that thing and thinking that, you know, we're going to live. See, when you think of like 3 to 6 months of surviving, right? 3 to 6 months, you said we're told to store food inside of our homes, canned food. And then what? Then what? You have 3 to 6 months. That's a growing season. Then what? You going back to Piggly Wiggly? You're going back to Kroger? You're going back to Whole Foods, brothers? No, that's not gonna be here.
Right.
If you think that's gonna be here, then you need to. For those who are followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, you better turn to page 34 of Our Savior Has Arrived. And it's called the certainty of punishment. He said they see it afar off. Here's how it opens up. It's a chapter inside the Quran. They see it afar off. He said, nay, we see it nigh. See, that we've been given just a mercy, just because, it didn't happen right then and there. It don't matter. If you just listen at that time, man, you should be in very good shape right now. But he said they see it afar off. Nay, we see it nigh. See, we don't think that a day is coming. And if you go right into that chapter, he starts breaking down why God is going to separate us from this enemy and how he's going to do it. He said, and he gave the example of Lazarus and the rich man. He said, because we're so in love with our enemy. See, we love going to Whole Foods. You know, we love getting the food or the death brought to us. I can't even say the life. We love getting that death brought to us. We're happy that we can order off of Amazon. But tomorrow, my dear brothers and sisters, when he tells you about those storms, right? If you go into it's Savior's Day, 2011, you can't even get this online anymore. Heck, you can't even watch part 36 on the time it must be done online on YouTube anymore because they're taking all this stuff off. And so in 2011, he says, every plague that you read about that happened, that says happened in the Holy Quran, he said, did not take place then. He said, every plague that you read about will happen right here in America. He said, you will not make me a liar. And so when you understand who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is and the warning that he gives, this is to putting just in, you have to put this in your mind. This is the context, how you have to see this. He's talking about every single plague. So when you read about Pharaoh touching that God touched his animals, touched his crop, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in that same chapter, at the end of that chapter, after he goes and tells you about Lazarus and how he kept wanting to beg from his table, he says the worst famine that has ever happened in any nation will happen right here in America. That's what he closed with. In the criterion, page 33, last paragraph, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, he said, when I leave from here, by whatever means that I leave from here, he said, death and destruction will befall America like that. I'm not willing to take a risk with that, not for me and my family and all of my loved ones. When I established that farm space on the side of Mos Mariam, there was a visual because the children, nobody was doing anything. And when you have so much information being given, you have to do something for yourself. That was a place full of weeds and there was nothing there. And I'm saying that because a lot of people have spaces, or even in your backyard, there's nothing there. You're not doing nothing with it. But my dear brothers, if you don't do something, and I did that with very little means, that was with no fund, that was with my funding. You see, that was with the support you would have some believers would come by and they would like to purchase eggs and chicken and buy chickens and baby chicks. And I was able to share that with them. I was able to install gardens and things inside of their backyard so that they have something. But see, we need to see an image of what a farm or what you can do with a very small space. And we can't take it for granted the time that we have. If we don't move and move very quickly with growing something and doing something for ourselves in the way of food production, you don't need a lot of space. And that's what that example in Mos Mariam is. You don't need a lot of space to grow a lot of food.
So
You
let
can-
me,
I got a quick question.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a quick question, bro. Now, like how we asked earlier, you know, you have disaster and you have survival. So there's a lot of different moving circles in that same area that you're talking about. But how does one get started? Maybe I haven't read Tidy to Live. Maybe I haven't acquired any of these books or these books of knowledge, but I want to step out there. I want to take that first step in survival, in preparing for disaster. What do you suggest for someone to do?
Well, that's a good question. And see, when I say we have no excuses because you have millions of people on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, gardening, showing step by step how to establish, how to just grow a box, how to put a food box. You have a brother right now in Chicago, brother Malik Ithaca, that does little short videos. I was just watching one right before I came over here with my wife, and he was just showing how to put up together a simple box. But you're asking, okay, how do I do it? Just go on YouTube. There's no when you want more like in-depth like training, that's when you come to Osafa's Oasis. That's when you
Right.
for the program. Like you have an acre, you have 10 acres, you have 30 acres, you have 100, you have 1,000 acres. That's when you come and get the training from Brother Randy here at Asafa's Oasis. That's when I'll show you how to massage the earth, how to use the land, how to work the land, how to make it productive. That's what I focus in on. It's really getting back to the earth. So you really have to go into a mind. Like survival it's a mind. And I'm gonna show you there's a lecture, I believe it's in 2008. As a matter of fact, it's a study guide that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave. And it's called Educational Challenge, a New Paradigm for the 21st Century. And inside of that lecture, and that you can find that on YouTube. They have about 40 minutes of it on YouTube. You might want to hurry up and watch that before they take that down. Or you can order that from the Final Call store. And I would definitely, if you don't have that, you definitely want that lecture and you want to review it. Remember, it's a study guide 21. And inside of it, Dalman Sulis Farrakhan says this. He said, what I'm about to say is, he said, might, like shock some of you. But he said, I am the way. I am the way. When the only person I ever heard say something like that, I am the way, that I've heard was Jesus inside of the Bible.
Right.
That's the only person I ever. So it made me think like, well, what do you mean I am the way? Like what way? What way is that? See, he told every single one of us and his executive council, he said, you don't love deep enough. You don't love deep enough. So what do you mean you don't love deep enough? How do I love? How can I get into love? See, he's showing us the way we have to think. See, we have to be in love. See, when you think of love, you got to think of sacrifice. I'm going to give it my all. You see, I'm going to give it my all. And that's the type of mind you're going to have to make it through this. When you talk about disaster preparedness, he said, just try and survive. Just try. But if you can't love, you won't love your life. You won't try to protect yourself. You won't plant. I'll tell you what, you start, like, go plant a tree in your backyard. You start there. Find what tree produces like a mulberry tree. They have dwarf mulberry trees that produces a tons of fruit that you can learn to turn into jelly, turn into juice, turn into medicine. See, you have food growing out there. You have to make it like a whole system. That's how you have to make your backyard when you think of survival. But when you think of like care, see, these things, all of it is life. It needs care. And that's why I'm saying love. See, you can't come with just a white man's mind where I'm just going to put this type of chemical on it, because tomorrow you're not going to have that. You have to care for these things. You got to care for chickens. You have to have love for all of these things. And if you don't have love, let me share what you, Mr. Farrakhan told me when he came by the farm at the mosque. He said, your love for these chickens is like your love for God. This is what he said. Your love. That's what he talked about. He said your love is like that. And I just, you don't know what to say when he talking to you. You just say Allahu Akbar. I said, yeah, Allahu Akbar. All praises due to Allah. But he's showing me the way is that you have to, when you plant the plant or whatever it is that you're growing, find out everything that you can about it. You want to find out what eats it, what protects it. See, a backyard or a garden or a farm is a chessboard. It's not checkers. It's chess. Every piece that you put out there, every move that you make has to be calculated. It has to be one thing protecting another. You need to learn how to protect plants. You see, how to protect chickens, how to protect whatever farm animals that you have. Like when I moved to Georgia, right? I didn't know anything about farm dogs. And that's why I came down here to expand my knowledge. I didn't know anything about farm dogs, but I went and got probably like 23 or 26 sheep, right? They all had babies. I had like probably 20 baby lambs. I went on vacation for like a month or 2 months. I came back. I was like, man, where's all my sheep at? I had to call Brother Patrick of Your Faith Farms. I said, Brother Pat, I need a dog. I need a dog. Because and that dog it saved my flock. So you have to know, like, when you have certain things, how do you protect it? Like heck, Dr. Ridgely right now on the nation's farm, right? He's catching hell right now because he don't know how to protect the watermelons. You thought you can build a fence, but see, God has aerial predators.
Yeah.
You have things that you gotta know how to use your forces, right? So this like some trees repel certain insects. So when you think of like survival, like disaster preparedness, where are the wet spots inside if you're in an area, Houston, right? Houston's getting flooding rain, right? How do you grow in something like that? What's the best thing you do? Do you want to grow in the ground? No. You know, something Sister Ava said. She said, I never figured why people want to live in the path of Allah's wrath. So if you know you're in the path of Allah's wrath, you have to think.
Well, you got to get out of America then.
Well, no, you got to separate from her. You got to separate from her. But it's like, how do you build? What type of design are you coming up with? So you need to be studying and researching people who live in flooded areas, even stepping outside of this country. You know, you need to be studying over in Hawaii or Guam or places that receive a lot of flooding. If you're in California, you need to be studying people that deal with mass drought, because we're about to experience droughts like you've never seen before, right? So even though we might be in a certain area like right now, how have you loved and prepped your soil so that it can absorb water, so that you don't have heavy runoff or heavy watered areas that will kill all your plants when you try to plant? So you might think that, oh, I got this big crop. I'm doing all this work. I'm about to have a big harvest. And shoot, until that rain comes. And I learned that lesson at Mos Marion, right? You think, see, nobody's safe. Nobody is safe. No, there's There's no such thing as a title or anything like that going to protect you tomorrow. There's
So I
none
got a
of
couple
that.
questions.
And I'm gonna show you.
Oh,
I was
okay.
growing over there. I just planted all of my squash, my pepper plants, my tomato plants. I even got a video of it. Planted everything over there. It was beautiful, right? Just like that, some freak storm came, a hailstorm, flooded all of that. All that work I did, rushed, water just rushed in. All from the mosque parking lot, flooded that whole area. Hail Swiss cheesed all of my crop, all my big broadleaf crop, my butternut squash, my squash, chopped it all up. And I said, I just had to sit. I was, it was frustrating. But when you go through things like that, see, when you go through a lot of things on a farm, you really have to thank God, because I don't look at trials or difficulties as like something different, something bad or negative. See, right there was probably one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned.
That was a good lesson.
No, you got it right. If you don't have things that can protect your crops in areas where you get things like that, so you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Lucky I had the hoop house and everything that was in there was protected, but it wasn't so bad that the crops didn't grow back. And the ones that did it, so what I did, because I know, okay, you get a lot of water, we get excess flooding and stuff like that. Okay, what do? I raised the ground. I had truckloads of wood chips dumped, and I moved it over there, lifted the ground, because we didn't have a soil. Now, after a few years, that it all broke down, and now you can grow in it. So now Brother Rashad at the mosque, he's growing in all of that area where before, a few years ago, you couldn't even grow in it. And that's why you have to prepare now, because you don't know what you're about to go through, what you're about to face. This is why it's so important to move now. If you wait till tomorrow, well, you're going to be in some serious shape.
So what you're talking about really is, all right, so this is what you're talking about is in addition to, I guess, putting away just I guess some canned some canned food. You were talking about beyond that. So like say I have like 3 months supply of food or 6 months supply of food. You're saying at some point it's going to run out, and that grocery store is not going to be there anymore. Now what do you do? And so this is what you're talking about, like preparing for down the line type disasters. Is that what you're saying?
Well, even now, because look, if you look at it like this, right? Just last year, right before during Savior's Day, I had 2 tornadoes pass through my town. 2. One 5 minutes from my house, ripped that whole community apart. When you think of what type of condition this country is about to be in, when you have helicopter gunships out in a city, what is the condition of that city? What's the condition of the environment when you have these types of things taking place? So you might have to leave out. Say you're estranged in some other community. You think anybody just gonna want you in that community? What kind of skills do you have? Can you grow food? Can you hold your own weight? Right? Or what? Why would I take you in? Why would I allow you into this community here? We got electrician, plumber, carpenter. What do? You see? Do I have to feed you? I gotta feed you.
Maybe you could be a laborer.
Huh?
If you don't have a skill, maybe you could be a laborer, right?
Do you think of like a food? Food. You think? Yeah. I have got shipped overseas or something like that. What are you gonna do there? Man, I can grow food. I can grow food in abundance. I can take care of animals. I can multiply everything in touch. I can multiply in abundance. So you want to think like that also when you think of survival. What if tornado passed? I lost all my 3 to 6 months.
Right.
Heck, I lost a lot. Tornado pass, ripped through the farm. Then what?
Right.
Do you know how to use all the wood that's shattered all over the place to recoup whatever the animals that you might? Do you know how to build a pen? Do you know how to protect that? Can you start back all over?
That's a good point.
Can you do it again? You see?
Without YouTube, because ain't no power.
When you say that, brother, there was a movie that they just came on Netflix called The World We Left Behind. Have you all seen that?
Yes, sir.
The World We Left Behind. And I never understood why they were talking about leaflets would be dropping, because there's no power. There's no power. You have no power. You're about to experience natural disasters like we're about to experience like we've never seen before.
Right.
Some of us don't believe that. And my mother always tell me, listen to what I told you. You're gonna be in for a rude awakening. And we're gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, I know. You're right. That's a good point, brother. You make a good point.
A rude awakening.
What are your skills and talents? And and in during that time, what is the value? That's a very, very good point you make.
I'm happy you mentioned that. And when you said that, what is gifts, skills, and talents? And one thing, see, I never left medicine. I just really got into it because food is medicine. Now, how can you make? So there's no pharmacy,
right?
No Walgreens during this time,
right?
When they rioted in Chicago, when they killed our brother, they put our brother that put the knee on his neck. They cleaned out. Yeah. They cleaned out the grocery stores, Walgreens, in less than 3 days. Less than 3 days, they wiped these things. I mean, picked them clean. Police were more downtown than in the south side of Chicago. People were coming out of the stores like roaches. So no medicine. What happens when you have some bacteria inside your stomach? How do you deal with that? How do you know how to make certain remedies? See, this is what the importance of farm and having certain herbs and things like that inside your house. And I like to give people an example. My son had, I tell you, it's a farm. So he likes to, he's little. So he likes to take the dirt and want to taste the dirt. Dirt might have some chicken poop in it. So you take that. Now he has diarrhea. And now he's using the bathroom like water. I'm talking about like every 3 minutes he's on the toilet. And I know that he's about to be dehydrated. And if he keeps doing that, he's going to get dehydrated. I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Bam. I went inside the garden. I got some garlic, turmeric, and ginger, ground that up, put that in a tea, gave that to him. Less than 10 minutes. Nothing. Stopped it just like that. You say, what are some other things that heal ailments, wounds? Oh, you had, and this is why, like he said, like the food, your cabinet or your food pantry is your hospital. Food is your medicine. Like, how do you use these things? Because this is how we're going to be having to think now. When you think of food preparation or what do I have? So when you think of, okay, what type of food do I grow? What food am I going to want to grow tomatoes in a time of want? No. Right. Why? What nutrient value? I mean, it tastes good. You have certain things, but is it the most nutrient dense? Can I store this long time? No. Right. What can I store long? Butternut squash stores for 6 months. 6 months. Onions can store, and it's also medicine. What kind of, and this is when you plant around your house, what kind of medicinal trees and things like that do you have? Elderberry, figs, what type of things you have? So one thing I share with people that come to the training is quails. Quails, and I learned this from a brother named Brother Sherman out of Tuskegee, Alabama. Beautiful brother. You talk about disaster preparedness or having something in a time of want. This brother has designed shipping containers that he makes that can fit up to 1,600 quails. Quails start producing eggs in a fraction of a time than chickens. Chickens take 6 to 8 months. I think a quail takes like 6 to like 16 weeks.
Mm.
The egg has double nutritional value than a chicken egg. And it's about the size of your palm, about the size of your hand, full grown.
Mm.
So you can keep this inside your house. It's very quiet, except when it must be noisy. It can be a little noisy. But this is something that you don't need a lot of space, that can keep you alive for a certain period of time. Say, this is the chessboard. This is the way we have to think, and we have to think community.
Mm-hmm.
We have to think of togetherness, not oh, I have it and my brother doesn't. No, that's not the heart. See, that's not love. And that's what I'm talking about. The mind of Farrakhan. See, the mind of a savior. the mind of a lover.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is going to bring, that's what is going to get us through a time of disaster. There's no soloist in survival.
Right.
There's no such thing as solo
Right.
when it comes to survival. So it's to teach and train as many as you can so they have the skills, because people have families. We all have families, big families. You're not going to want to just go and walk by somebody. You're going to see somebody with a child that can't take care of that child. This is when almost was Farrakhan. He gave a lecture. It's in 1996 called The Divine Destruction of America. And he said, he got this from the Bible, because this is in the Bible. This, matter of fact, Jesus spoke about this, that you would be looking at your children like you would say, and this is the quote from the scripture, that you would say, we're going to eat my child today and yours tomorrow. What kind of condition are we in when you think of something like that? We're a woman that would kill anything if you harmed her child. If you even came and said anything wrong to her child. What kind of condition are we in that a woman would want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and from that right there, lets you know we're in bad, we'll be going to be in bad shape.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, bro.
It's teaching, being able to teach communities agriculture, where people can just have a little something, because we're being made, I believe, leaders right now to help our community. Because if we didn't learn anything from Katrina, that there was no help, what about when there's no money and now a disaster like that happens?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that's what's coming. That's what's coming. Snow, like he said, they give me the Bible put it like this. He said he stored up snow in the north and water for this day, because God is going to wage war, and you don't want to be in the path of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be ready for, anything that, or just know how you say, spar, right? This is a mental and a physical sparring with nature. Like I know I'm not exempt from the wrath of God. I know I'm not, that hurricane and that experience at Mos Mariam, it taught me that I'm not exempt from that, but can I recoup from something like that? And that's what we have to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Osapha's farm. I know you said it wasn't quite developed. How much? I mean, what's the time period you would have that developed so we could start going to the farm and learning these classes?
Oh no, we're fully operational now.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, we're fully operational now. We teach. So it first started teaching a visionary workshop, and I start there because you need to be able to see your space. You need to know what's possible. And sometimes it's just like you were saying, like, well, what do I do if I don't have? What do I do? What can I do? And so I teach you how to see it. So I would take you through a whole tour of the farm to show you what's possible, because this was blank. This was nothing here. This was weeds, and yeah, you had grass, but it was no farm here. I had to build the farm. Just like I was showing you at Mos Mariam, I had to build that out. There was nothing there. There was no fence. There was no chicken coop. There was no hoop house. There was none of that there. So how do you get into that creative mind? I walk you through that, and then go through the farm tour. Then we go through the composting workshop, where I show you, just like how Will Allen taught me, like how to make nutrient dense soil. But I take it even further because I was never taught about chicken. I learned chickens just from growing up with a bunch of chickens, because that's what we always had in Puerto Rico. And just growing up, we always had chickens inside the backyard. So I was sitting one time at the space in Chicago with just a field of wood chips. And I said, well, dang, what do I do with this? I stood on top of the wood chip just looking and just thinking. And I was just it's such a deplorable state. And I just had to say, I just say the prayer. And I tell you, it was it was just like that. Bam. I'm looking at my chickens. I said, oh, I'm going to use God's tools. They're going to fertilize the ground for me. They're going to make these wood chips useful. Like as they break down, they're going to put the fertility inside of the soil for me. And that's how I learned how to use chickens. So every difficulty I don't like calling it like a difficulty, really like blessings, right?
Right.
Because all it does, it just makes me stronger. It just makes me more knowledgeable. It's just like a puzzle. It's just like, how do I troubleshoot this? And that's when you really have to. Farming, like the Honorable Farrakhan said, will bring you very, very close to God. Very, very, very close. So I go over all these types of things and my experiences farming inside that first workshop. And then we go to the composting. Then I showed people how to process chickens, sheep, cows. If you're interested in doing this, how to build hoop houses, the different types of hoop houses that you can build. Because there's not like just one. Like what can you do in real small spaces? Like how do you make it functional for you and your family to maximize it, right? Because tomorrow you're not going to want to be building decks and pergolas and it's nice to have all those things, but tomorrow you will be pulling up every piece of wood in your yard for growing space. Every piece. I went to a person's home to do a consultation. And they had a nice deck, right? And I'm showing them just, okay, they had another space. And I was showing them, okay, well, you can do something right here. The whole time, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy. But I'm looking at him like, you're about to starve. You're about to be very, very hungry. You live in Chicago. You live on the south side of Chicago. They clean those grocery stores out in less than 3 days. Where are you going to get food from? You don't got that. You didn't store up that much food. You didn't can that much. How fast are you going to go through that? And then what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You think trucks are coming inside and delivering food? See, that's the thinking that Piggly Wiggly and Whole Foods and Mariano's and Amazon is there. But no, you better be wise.
Nobody else coming.
Elijah Muhammad. Nobody's coming to save us.
Right.
Like we have to adhere and pull up. And it all goes into this right here. It says, see, we're all waiting for a test, right? We're in a test right now. Will you sit and wait for a mystery God to bring you food? Most Elijah Muhammad said, he gave us the answer. Emphatically, no. He said, me and my people who have been lost from home for over 379 years have tried this so-called mystery God for food, clothing, shelter, and home and received nothing but hunger, nakedness, hard times, and out of doors, and also was beaten, killed by the ones who advocated that kind of a God. And no relief came to us until our prophet came by the name of W.D. Farad, meaning a man. Meaning if you don't get up and do something for yourself, shoot, you ain't going to have nothing.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really never considered anything that you said before this show. I'm gonna be honest with you. The extent of my preparedness was just the canning, the getting some extra candlesticks just in case the lights went out, extra batteries, a generator, some solar power, stuff. I never considered to just start gardening. I really feel like I'm awful at it, and I don't have a big space. So my question to you is now I never saw this garden you're talking about in Chicago, and you keep using this language. I took this little space. You got to describe what do you call little, and how big is that space? For one, two, how much did you put in that space? Now, and if it's a big space, I mean, little to me, right? It's the modern day houses. They don't have much of a front yard. They don't have much of a backyard. Now that space at Mars Marriott may be bigger than that, and you calling that little. So just in I don't have much. Like most people, modern don't
I got you.
real estate agents. I'm selling these houses, and they're this close to each other, like this house, and then there's another house, right? And the yard is probably as big as like 3 good jumps, and that's it. What can you do with that space?
That's perfect, right? So I had a 2-flat in Chicago. I built a 15 by 20 feet hoop house. Didn't care like what I had in that backyard. I had over 700 chickens inside raising them in my basement. So if you have like basement, I'm talking about baby chicks. I got videos and all this. I can show you. And a matter of fact,
there's no room to operate, right? And there's no room to maneuver with those many chicks in that space, correct?
No. It's a system. See, everything is a system. How do you design it, right? So I made a system to collect and catch the manure and take it. I was just taking it out and feeding my garden. Now that was just me in my small space, right? But I just told you about quails. Everybody can raise quails in that backyard in a small chicken tractor and move it inside of their yard, just piece by piece by piece. Look, you have your eggs, and if you get real hungry, you probably don't want to eat them, but you can eat that. You can
don't eat it if you're real hungry.
Oh yeah. So you grow vertically. Mm-hmm. You have to grow vertical when you have, and I've seen people just a small balcony. I had so many plants growing on my. I had a small balcony, not even I wouldn't even say it was 10 feet. It was a 4x8. Just say a 5x8. Give it an extra foot out. You know how many pots and hanging plants that you can put, lattices that you can put up to grow food? Mm-hmm. So that you do pole beans, you do squash. When I say there's anything you can think of like growing wise, it's all on YouTube. There is someone teaching on a space. We just have to look it up. Just go online. And this is a big thing where we put our mind at. See, this is where we have to have our mind in. Just watch it. I watch video after video after video of people building, people growing, whatever it is, making medicine. I watch video after video after video. And because I have a biology background, I understand how to do these things. This is what I spend my time doing, reading and studying books on how to. We don't have like time to waste. I was never into like sports and things like that, so I don't waste my time doing that. And I'm way too busy. Like with a farm, just before I came over here, I just moved 6 chicken tractors and moving my chickens around to help fertilize my field. And I'm talking about hundreds of birds. I had to deal with baby chick issues because they get sick. And you have to know how to deal with all this stuff when you're growing food and things like that. So it's a constant, it's a process. It's just a big chessboard. So when you think of like a just small space, what is most nutrient dense and it can survive? Like, can I take it inside the house? Right? If you had to, you can just put things in buckets. Oh, that can be in the living room. Trust me, tomorrow you're not caring if I have 10 tomato plants inside the house. You're not gonna be you're gonna be wanting that. You're going to be wanting that. You're going to move the couch. You matter of fact, the couch can probably go outside. I need all that growing space right there. It's grow lights, knowing how to use grow lights. Grow lights can make your plants very stringy. And so if you put them too far away, you're just going to have it's going to be a weak plant, and then it's just going to die. Is learning how to do that. And how you learn how to use grow lights the best is watching people that grow hemp.
Right.
They do it the best because they grow all indoor. And those are the best people to study to produce indoor crops like tomatoes, peppers. They have whole systems designed. So when you think of disaster preparedness, or I'm in an apartment building. What can I do? How can I turn my closet or a one bedroom into one giant grow room?
Mm-hmm.
This is all this is possible in winter. What am I thinking of insulating? See, this is when these canned goods come into play, because when it's winter time, if you're not in a warm area like Florida where you can almost grow year round, what kind of infrastructures do I have set up? Well, you can build mini greenhouses right there, like on your property, and it's still aesthetically pleasing. But tomorrow, like I said, you're not gonna care about any aesthetics for quite a while.
Right.
We don't eat baby.
Exactly.
Baby, right?
Exactly.
This is big, man. This is good talk.
Yeah.
Quick scenario. I mean, everything destroyed right now. Everything. We looking around. It's nothing. What's the first thing you doing?
Need water. Water is the biggest, one of the biggest things. They have a thing called a Berkey filter or Berkey water system. And as a matter of fact, at Brother Ghazi's event that he did last year, the brother, his name's Brother Stephen Muhammad out of Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And he was teaching on how to filter water.
It sure was.
Think of like flooding areas, you also get cholera. And this is what our brothers and sisters were dealing with over there in Haiti. And just if you don't think that we're about to go through these types of things, remember the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that Fukushima nuclear over there in Fukushima in Japan, that tidal wave and all that nuclear disaster, he said that's coming right over here. So and that's I'm happy you mentioned that. When you think of water, that's the most important thing. Is would you have can you find a clean water source, or do you have those filtration bottles that can filter disgusting water? That Berkey filter can filter nasty water and make it drinkable water. So studying those water systems, you even have so many people that are so smart among us. There's a brother that builds collects condensation, condensation. And he builds he has these water systems, and I think he went over there to help over there in Haiti with those water systems. But studying that, how do I clean water? How do I have those water barrels? So if you think you're in an apartment, you can put a 55-gallon water container inside of there. And this is why making sure different family members have certain things, different friends have certain things. And that's why I say community is most important, in people having this type of education to help educate the people in their community. Because when you do that, you're really setting up your survival system, right? Your survival system. Because this person might be able to hold 20 rain barrels, right? Brother, can I give you here I got to give you the money, but here I bought one. Can we keep it over here, right? You have it, I have it, right? You stored it over there, thinking of things like that. How much water do I need?
Right.
So Brother Ren, this is part of the show where we about to close it out, but we do have final words portion of the show. And as our special guest, we want you to get the final word, and we're gonna go around the horn. So, Brother Ren, the final words.
I pray this helped all of you. if you are able to, this is at the National Training Seminar, I will be speaking there, and I will be sharing some very important things on survival. Matter of fact, the title of the lecture is "The Science of Survival." The title of my piece, I want to call it a lecture, but I'm going to go more in depth of just what exactly farming is and just the mind that you want to have in going in these closing times. And if you have any questions, I can be reached at osafasoasis.com. You can just email me there if you're interested in taking any of the training that we have. We do offer the trainings here that you can get this type of education. It's not expensive. Not dinging nobody inside the head. Actually, it's probably the most reasonable that you'll ever find. And I do have an extensive knowledge on these things.
He's finna hook you up right now. He's about to put osafasoasis.com on the screen for everybody to see. Please, everybody, when Brother Jackie put it up, write this down. Visit his website. As you can see, his brother very passionate and knowledgeable.
Is that the correct?
Yes.
You had apostrophe s, but is
no that's it.
Okay.
Okay, yes, everybody, please get that down and go to his website.
And how often do you do the training?
I do these trainings every Saturday. Every Saturday. And sometimes it's Saturday and Sunday, depending on what the workshop is. Like the Visionary Workshop is a 2-day workshop. The Hoop House that's a 2-day workshop because it entails a lot of building. So if you're out of town, just let me know, and I can kind of design the next workshop for an extensive. During the summertime, I do want to do a week-long intensive where I go through all of it. I was just trying to make it more feasible for the people to be able to attend, because I know not everyone can take a whole week off of work. So I'm just trying to make it where you can at least get some of it or just piece it as time goes by.
Okay.
Do you make this workshop I guess easy to understand for say youth?
Oh yes. That's really my focus. What I want to deal with is youth, and just teaching them, because when you can understand these sciences real young, they can take it so much further. See, there's a book called The Greatest Salesman in the World, by O.G. Mandino, and where he was talking about in that very first scroll that you don't have to go through the whole 20. You don't want to have to go through everything I've gone through to understand and learn what I learned. You don't want to have to do that. So just go ahead and cut that 20 years down into 1 week or a very short period of time, and take it like that, and you'd be better off. Now you can build and go deeper into it. You don't have to do everything that I did.
So that's in LaGrange, Georgia.
Yes.
Every Saturday. And if you're interested, Jock Nation, you go to osafasoasis.com, and they will leave their information, or
just leave me your name, email, what city you're in, and how I can contact you, and I will contact you. And what you're interested in, and I'll contact you.
Good job. Brother Jackie, final words.
I mean, brother, you said some things that brought a lot of to reality. We and you're right. After the 3 to 6 months, then what? We're gonna call Amazon, or we going back to Piggly Wiggly, or
Randy Muhammad.
So in those 3 to 6 months, it seems that we should have built something or started something, and after the 6 months, what we have started, it should be growing and prospering and exactly. So if you or I don't have any skills, man, brother, you brought a lot to mind. So thank you for that. So it's every Saturday. That's
yes, sir.
Every Saturday, and we can come and get some skills. And just like I watch you cut the head off that chicken that day. I watched you cut the head off that chicken, but you taught us how to, allow the chicken to bleed out. You have that tool. What was that tool that you put his head in? I don't know what you call it.
Metal cone.
Yeah, the metal cone.
Yeah, to keep,
Yes,
keep it from flapping.
Keep it from flapping
Yes.
and everything. Yeah, exactly. So these are skills that, during that time we definitely would need. We need them now. You know what I mean? So yes, sir, brother. Thank you for coming on, Brother Randy. We hope to have you again. So to go in further detail, I want to talk about, some of the things you learned from Will Allen, how to, deal with the land and whatnot. But very good information. Let's go to Jock Nation, go to asafaoasis.com because, nobody else is coming. No one else is coming. Everybody who's here is here. So everything we need to get our skill levels up. So thank you, Brother Randy.
Yes, sir.
Really appreciate your service to our nation, brother, and your love for what you're doing. So praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you all for having me.
Absolutely. Go. That's it, Kawi.
Well, I'm just gonna say thank you, but I called Brother Randy. He was ready to go on short notice, and even though we couldn't make it necessarily happen last week, he was still ready this week, and I had no idea we was going to get this type of information on the show. I was actually expecting a totally different type of show or information, but the information that you have is super solid, and it don't even sound like it's really hard to do. Yet it will save lives, and I think that's the important part or the important points that you made with this show. This is something that is very simple to do. You can do it in a small space. It just takes some concentration, and you have the means to not only sustain yourself and your family, but those around you for long periods of time. So, man, I look forward to seeing you at God's Farm. I don't think I'm looking forward to the cutting off of chicken head though. But you know what? We all love chicken, so
You get hungry enough, you look forward to cutting off.
If you don't want to cut it off, like I do sell chicken. I do sell chicken.
right? Yes.
Yeah, we do sell eggs and chicken. So
Yeah,
you want
get
that,
hungry enough.
we have it for you.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? I would like to see if you do this at Gaz's farm or even at your farm, how you store your quails. I really would like to see that. And man, you just bought a lot.
Yeah,
you just bought a lot, dude, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You really did, bro.
Praise be to Allah.
And you do a good job every Saturday on our call, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Praise be to Allah.
So, all right, Jock Nation, look, man, that was a lot of information. Thank you, Brother Randy. Thank you, Brother Kawi.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.